Welcome to 2023. I'm your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney, and I cannot express my sincere joy, excitement, okay, and just gratitude for being here. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your time with me. I'm pumped and excited to bring to you the Friday Live Helpcast, the very first one of 2023. I'm excited. Our team was able to, last year we set the goal of making sure that our team is able to get 2 weeks paid time off. That does not include some of the other incentive bonuses that come with working for the company, but making sure that they were able to get that time. And I was very blessed to experience that as well in making sure that we could get some time off. So there was no Helpcast last week. We didn't even do the Video Simplified podcast, kind of pause that for a minute until we get things together. And this book process, let me tell y'all something, all right? This book writing process is not for the faint of heart, okay? This is not for the faint of heart. We yesterday, got the spine of the book. So like this part of the book, which, yeah, that has to be designed. And then the back of the cover is complete now. And, just waiting on that final edit from the editor, and then I can finish doing the rest of the stuff online for Amazon. I'm pumped and excited to be here today. We're talking about the one proven strategy to take your video planning goals to the next level. We're going to dive into that for a little bit. And then, of course, we're going into the Friday Live Helpcast. So if you got questions, put a Q and a colon in the chat box, and I will get to it. Even if you have to leave, whether you're watching this on the replay, live or on the replay, you come, say, you know what? I can't stay. I got to go back to work because you're on the clock, okay, watching the Helpcast. I used to do that all the time. But you'll still get your question answered. I set the goal of always making sure I answer every question. So let's get into it. Let's say what's up to some of the fam in the chat. What is going on, Mr. Camera Junkie? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. And welcome as the first commenter. Let me see if I get that centered. Welcome as the first commenter in 2023, Mr. Camera Junkie. What's going on, Jerry? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Isaac Adrian, good to see you, brother. Glad that you are here. Cuzzo, glad to see you. All right, y'all. We got a couple points today. Very laid back as always. However, there's a couple things, like January always sets the precedence of goal setting, hitting those goals, or whether you hit them from last year. And the one thing that nobody talks about is the residual feelings that carry over from the previous year to the new year. There's a quick little cover, little blanket that gets thrown on like the first quarter of the year, at least for sure by January and February. And then once that blanket comes off, it's the real deal Holyfield underneath. What's the real root stuff, the real root reasons and causes of why people don't hit their goals. You could have the best content planning strategy. You could pay for some of the best entrepreneurs and coaches out there, and they can give you a great strategy for you to execute. But if you cannot execute it, it doesn't matter. We started off our first quarter meeting. We do a weekly huddle every week. And so this year, for the very first one, we just did some vision casting and some goal setting and went over what the focus is going to be for the first quarter of the year, how that's going to transcend into the other three, and what we're going to be doing for this year. But one of the few, and it wasn't like it took up quite a bit of time, but it wasn't a lot, was what are the core values for the brand? And one of our core values is executing everything in excellence. We execute everything in excellence. Sometimes you can say, I gave it my best. I could say with this book writing process, like I gave it my best. Sometimes your best is not enough. Sometimes your best is not enough. And it's not to say that the efforts that you put in aren't good enough. It's not to say that the amount of work that you contribute to doing something is not good enough. But there are some times when you know where you're getting close and you're like, I'm tired, I'm just going to fall back. It's those little slivers of moments in time that is honestly the real crux of why stuff doesn't get accomplished. I'm telling you, sometimes your best is not enough, because if I only did my best, as soon as I felt pain or discomfort dealing with this stage 4 endometriosis stuff, I would be like, that's enough. Time to go sit down. Took the medicine right before I got on here. And like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about an 8 or 9. On the inside, I feel amazing. On the outside, it's a different story. That happens. Doesn't take away from the commitment of me being here. So I want to dive into these 3 key principles that get you into this proven strategy to help you. I promise you, if you do these 3 things, if you fix these 3 things, and we're not going to spend a ton of time on them. So if you have a question, whether it's related to this topic or if you want to get into some gear, because we did have a camera drop by Panasonic, which I'm very excited to talk about, which we'll get into afterwards. But I want to make sure we get into the meat and potatoes up front, go into a little bit of Q&A. And if you guys have any questions, we'll dive into that in the chat. So first thing first, key number 1, not identifying your true desires. Not identifying your true desires. And what do I mean by that? When I work with parents, I'm very parents have a special place in my heart because they go the extra mile and then another mile past that. They go above and beyond for their kids, for their family. Those that are very family oriented, they're the most grittiest people that I know. They will do whatever it takes to get things done. However, when it comes to your brand and your business and why you're creating the videos that you're creating, well, what is the real true desire? Some people, I'm doing it for my kids. I love you for that. But your children are a beneficiary of the goals and the reasons of why you're setting and doing the things that you're doing. They're a beneficiary. They can be a propellant. They can fuel you, but they're not always in the, I, again, empathize with those that say it's like, oh, it's my kids. No, I know it's my kids. I promise you, it's really not. And I say that wholeheartedly understanding that a lot of people will say it's for my kids. They'll cry about it and everything. And you'll hear the phrase like, your why should make you cry. I don't believe in that. I love what I learned from my coach years ago. Your why should make you fly. Everybody can get emotional. I watch anime and just be like, oh, Genkai died on Yu Yu Hakusho. It's like, it's amazing. No, it's not about your why making you cry. It's about your why making you fly. What is going to help you to go? One of the best things I love about living next to an airport and airbase is I know the difference from an airplane and a jet. Jets, and they both require like the same thing, but jets go the extra mile and they're built different. Parents, entrepreneurs, content creators, especially content creating entrepreneurs, you're built different. A plane, we got some passengers, 50 degrees weather, and it's going to get to Spokane, Washington, and it's relaxed. A jet, code 72739, like it's very, like it's on the one. Both require a different type of accelerant to really go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be built different. So, like, this first point, like I said, is not identifying your true desires. What is the real true desire? A lot of people set goals that sound good out loud or look good on paper. Again, that's why I say I empathize with those that have children and say, like, I love my kids. They're my reason for everything. I feel you, but they're a beneficiary of the work that you do. They're not always the only reason. They're a beneficiary. So if you really sat down with yourself, nobody around, no one to present this to, nobody to share this to, what do you actually want? And you have a reason for why you're here before your children even arrive. That's why I said it's like they're a beneficiary of it. But what is your real true desire with nobody looking? The best way I found to do this is to just journal it out. I have these like the yellow notepads everywhere on top of a journal, which I showed you all. Top of a journal that this one's almost done. Then I'll start the new one that'll be for this year, or the first might be for the first month, as much as I journal. But it's like really take some time and just write how you feel. What do you really want? Not after you've watched some amazing presentation or Jim Rohn kind of a thing or Les Brown, and it pumps you up. What do you truly desire when nobody's looking? That's the first thing. The second thing is going to be making sure that you're uncovering your true why. The real nitty gritty reason, your true and the real why. If you don't identify the true why, Yeah, it'll make you cry, it'll make you emotional, but your why should make you fly. It's going to make you do something different. That's why I said sometimes your best is not enough. You have to do better than your best. What is that? Like, your best is a ceiling. What's required may be something beyond your best. You can raise the ceiling of what is your best when you start bringing in external information. Maybe you're listening to content like this. Maybe you're reading books. Maybe you signed up for a course. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and content creators, fellow creators, they're going to be making a lot of courses, going to be doing a lot of offers. We are in the same boat. However, when you identify the real desire that you have, and you couple that with your real why, like I remember this comment that I just got about a month or two ago, and it was like on a YouTube short. And I get where this guy's coming from, because sometimes people comment that don't fit the demographic here, and that's cool. But it's like, oh, I don't need a reason why. I just know I want to try something, and then I'll just do it. That's cool. If you're a hobbyist, we're not talking to you. Sorry, you're welcome to sit in the room, but this ain't for you. When you are an entrepreneur, you're building something that exceeds beyond you. Maybe it's something that you love and interested in and you're caring about. And maybe your real purpose for why you're here, like you're doing that purposeful work. But when you're doing something beyond yourself, like what's the real true why? Because on the days that it hurts, on the days when it's bad, on the days when you didn't hit the goal, on the days when you got to switch it up and you can't do the thing, it's not a rah-rah moment. It's like a, dag, let's recalibrate. Those moments suck. When you sit in the seasons of suck, you better have a really good strategy. And the first thing that you're going to have to figure out is, why am I doing what I'm doing? Do I really care about this? For those that say they're multi-passionate, I think you're just full. It's my personal belief and what I found to be true in working with clients and such. You're full. On the inside, you got all of this stuff. They are equal. You haven't expressed any of it. But when you start to expel some of that, you start to produce content on it. Even if you just did like Instagram stories every day or whatever, you could do those. Okay, let's say you do a couple of those. And you're like, you know what? This was cool. I had fun. I did it for 8 months. But I'm not as passionate about this thing as I am about this other thing. So give yourself permission to change your mind. If you uncover that this is actually, I am not rocking with this so much. I actually want to do this. Give yourself permission to change your mind. And if you need permission, you have permission to change your mind. You don't have to validate why you want something or want to do something, or like we're not in elementary school anymore. Like you don't have to convince anybody other than yourself. And then the third and final key is not creating a system to execute your commitment. If you don't have a system around like this, the thing that you're saying you're committed to, whatever that video content goal, whatever video marketing strategies you put together, whatever it is that you decide that you want to do, if you do not create a strategy around making sure that you can execute on it, it's not going to happen. What gets planned gets executed. What gets executed can now be measured. Wearing my Learn and Do shirt today, not intentional. I love it. And whatever you learn, go and execute on it. I learned something new today. It's like, oh, let me go and execute on it. When you start applying that philosophy, that learn and do philosophy, I promise you it'll change your life. But when you are committed to something, a video content goal sounds good. Everybody's hyped up, pumped up, and don't get off that high for as long as you can. Leverage that excess energies, but make sure you're putting it into a system. If you know, you have to be honest with yourself. If you know it's like, I'm going to get up at 3:45 in the morning, I'm going to do 12 hours of meditation, and then it's like, let's be honest here. You're not getting up, okay? That alarm is going to look at you in the morning. It's not happening. Maybe you need to redefine some commitments. That doesn't mean lean into parts where we're lazy, but give yourself a little grace to get there too. Not too much, but you know what I'm saying? Like push the needle. Push the needle. Like, okay, set 4 alarms, not like one at 5:01 a.m., 5:07 a.m., 5:09 a.m. Ask me how I know a.m. It is not doing that, but it's just like knowing that, okay, I need to break this habit, that when I hear it, it's not ignorable. The one thing I changed was adding a light to my alarms, because once the light comes, it's a different kind of trigger. And you can get those bulbs that progressively like raise up, whatever like works for you. It could be certain sounds. I changed my alarms. I changed what I listen to in the morning, not like just for this year, but I'm saying in general. I've been doing this for a few years now. The adding the light was in this last year. So that was a 2022 thing that I added in. So I set the ALEXA so I don't trigger any of that stuff. I'll set that so that when I'm waking up, so I don't just say like, oh, like give me 20 more minutes. Like, no, it's like set a light to it, because the light now is another layer of a disruption that's going to help me to stay awake. And again, that's just me. It could be music for you. Change the alarm. If you know you have emotionally a negative association with that, don't use that. If you know that kind of sets your nerves off and like annoys you, it reminds you of stuff that you hate. Maybe you did quit your job and that was the alarm that you're using. Change it. I promise you, change it. But if you do not, create a system so that you can execute on these commitments, it will not matter. If you're setting a goal, you need to be committed to that goal. If you're committed to that goal, you need to create systems around it. The other thing that I did is went back to these, I didn't fill this one out today, but my Franklin Covey style planner systems, that works best for me. I've tried other ones. I've introduced a couple. I'm working on a project right now around one, but it's like doing that. It's like it helps me to make sure I can do what I call my daily debriefs. And I've been doing this for the last year or more. It's like my daily debriefs. How do I feel? What am I annoyed with? What's keeping me up? What's something that's bothering me? And that carried over from the previous day that I just did not like, vibe with. It, like something was off about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I know like a situation happened and I didn't get to fully express my frustration with it, I need to journal because I need to get that off my chest. And I'm going to throw the paper away. And then I'm like, okay, now what's top of mind? So one of the things that I'll add to my daily debriefs in the morning or daily planning in the morning, daily debriefs at the evening, like what was the main consistent thing that stayed on my mind all day long? Don't ignore it. Get it off your chest. Assign it to somewhere, a time or something where you're going to come back to it. When you schedule it that way, then you can come back to it and be like, okay, I'm good now. You know, it just removes the distraction. It's the last thing. It's like, and I didn't plan for this, but I'll say this. I wrote it down just like a second before the stream started. What are your time wasters? And then asterisk, what are your micro time wasters? One of my micro time wasters would be looking for the lens cleaning cloths or like the Zeiss wipes or whatever. Just like, where's the other one? Oh, let me check my bag. Oh, let me do this. No. I've been using ALEXA. I've been putting her behind to work. She worked well over 40 hours a week. Remind me on certain things. I just had her before when I was working and doing stuff around here. Instead of looking at my watch, instead of looking at the computer, and then I see a notification. Like I saw my bestie text me, and I'm like, I'm like, just ask, what time is it? And I just kept asking, what time is it, when I felt like I needed to know what the next time was. I don't want to look, I limit distractions as much as possible. And then the final thing I'll say is like the micro distractions and stuff is making sure that, like, because you know you best, how can you avoid those micro distractions? It's the micro distractions. The big stuff, like, oh, I got the kids. NyQuil. Give them children, I'm saying it officially, 2023, the year of NyQuil. Give them ZQuil. They'll be all right. They'll live. Give them some Benadryl or something. 2023, like, no. Figure out what your micro distractions are. Children, you can work around. They usually have schedules or things like that. Thing I love to do, give them work. Give them something to do. Invite them into the process. They'll get tired and they'll want to leave at past a point. It works every time. I have 22 nieces and nephews. I know. Shoot. But identify what those micro time wasters are. And like I said on the third point, make sure you create a system around what am I going to do about this? And if you can't figure it out and you have a team or you're building a team or whatever, invite them into the process of helping you to make a decision around a certain thing if it impacts other people. I hope this brought a lot of value to y'all. I just want to take some time to like really infuse a lot of the stuff that gets forgotten about the goals, the things that nobody talks about, and the real difference makers that really help you to achieve the things that you want, not just feel good at the end of a talk and you're like, okay, now what? Or they have you to set goals in a weak state of mind when you're depressed or when you're not feeling good, and you look at the goal and you said, I'll never be able to do that. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. And so knowing those commitments and why you're committed to doing it, what your real true desires are, and then creating a system around it is essential. I hope this blesses you all. Let's go into the comments Q&A. Like I said, if you got a question, put a Q, a colon in the chat. I'll get to it. And we're going to talk about the Panasonic S5 Mark II. I didn't watch all the videos like I usually do. I just did not have the time this week. I did see some, but I'm excited about that camera. That's a great looking little camera. All right, Panasonic, for doing face detection, autofocus. Finally. Okay. Jeez Louise. Mr. Camera Junkie saying 2023 is set up to be amazing. You know what? Let's see. Roadcaster, you ready? Hey, now. I still have not sent her in for repairs. I apologize. Lavon Wilson saying, welcome back, Diana. We missed you last week. I appreciate that. I really do. I reply to those comments and I see them. I didn't realize I was a month behind on some comments. I try to be very committed to replying to comments consistently. And I promise y'all, this book writing process is something else. It really, truly is. It's self-publishing. So I appreciate that. I really sincerely do. So thank you for that, Levine. And I just hit 1,000 viewers on a YouTube short after almost a year of not getting. Let's give it up. Mother Oats in the building, putting in work. You know what it is? Sometimes you got to clear the desk. You got a bunch of ideas. You're executing. Sometimes it's just clearing the desk. And then you uncover what your audience truly wants. Now dig into that. Just lean into that. What are the other direct and associated or related things that your audience might be interested in? I'm telling you, if you do that, you'll start to see your numbers increase on the other ones that you produce after that. That's amazing. Congratulations. Hello, Diana Brown and Beachy. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying thank you for all your tips. I definitely credit your tips that have helped me. Thank you so much, Mother Oats. I sincerely appreciate that. I really, really do. RK3 in the building. Robert Kennedy III. Brother, you sound like you was in the president's book somewhere. Good to see you. Saying, hey there, fam. Happy New Year. Happy New Year indeed. Another 100% door kicked in. Marine X, why you always kicking the door in? You know, we got to repair them doors. Every help has, if you break in the door, we got to have a repairman on staff to fix that. All right? Every time, boom, what's up, everybody? We got to repair that. Hey, man, we're going to get you some counseling, you know, because you keep kicking the doors in, keep having them repaired. And every Friday, it's the same thing. We got to talk, man. We got to talk. No, just kidding. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying mine definitely make you fly. That's what I'm talking about. Your why has to make you fly, not cry, but fly. Anything can make you cry. Like I said, I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho when Genkai. I died. Listen, messed me all the way up. I'm like, I need to go watch something else. I'm trying to tell you. Saying hello. I'm late to the party. But glad I made it. That's a great idea. I like multiple things, cooking and cards. So, hey, that's what I'm going to do. Make me happy. Hello, world. Good to see you, Gordon Reed. Glad that you're here. Yeah, man, it's like that everything don't have to go on the YouTube channel. You can make sure that you're hitting those interests, because sometimes it's like, I want to do this, or my business is about this, but I'm personally interested about that. You have like Instagram, you have Facebook, you have other mediums to share like what you're doing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a way to share that. And your audience is not only interested in the thing. Like people care more about the topic and the reason for whatever it is that you're creating stuff. And then they come to care about you as a person or creator. And it's sharing those interests and stuff. Like I make a polarizing statement every single year and I'll never back down from it. Okay. I want you all to know I've decided to put it on my gravestone. Okay. Are you ready for this? White chocolate is better than dark chocolate. Diana Gladney. It's a shirt. It's a shirt. It's going to be on every child's book bag. All right. White chocolate is better than dark chocolate. And I'll stand on it. I'll argue with Hershey's about it. I don't care. I stand by it. But it's stuff like that. But just like your interest. And I'm jesting right now, but I'm serious. It is better. And but it's stuff like that that instantly creates a connection with people. It's just like, what about milk chocolate? What about now dark chocolate? And it's like, okay, if this was a room, I'd put the dark chocolate people in the back. All right. If I see you at my next talk, more details coming on that soon. But I will be speaking at Women of Video on February. No, it's not February. Jeez. I will be speaking at Women of Video March the 11th and the 12th, I believe it is. So I don't know all of what happens on the days. I don't have the full schedule, but I will be at that event. So make sure you guys check it out. I can't remember what the link is that I put together for that. I apologize. But it's like Diana.link/WOV, or maybe it's like Women of Video. Could be. I don't know. We'll come back to that after these messages. This is really good advice. You're very welcome. Glad to be of service. Where's my music at? It seems awfully low. I don't know if y'all can hear anything. There we go. Saying I thank you for your time in doing these videos. You have changed the game. Your knowledge and channel is awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I sincerely does. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. Teresa Durham, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast. Mr. Camera Junkie in the building, saying once you understand that you cannot gain extra energy by snoozing. I never did it again. No, you don't. You're deluded. It's a self-grandizing illusion, and you're being delusional. I literally went from like 5 alarms to 1. The snooze is on because I know sometimes like I'm out of it, but I set multiple alarms. The other thing again is just like everybody talks like the morning, it's like your morning meditation and it's your morning something else, morning routine. That's the word I was looking for. Everybody talks about your morning routine. However, if you just go off of stuff you see in the book, that stuff ain't gonna work because it does not attribute to your own faults, things that you know about yourself. I got so bad when I was in college. Like I remember my aunt, she said she told me something like to put clothes in a dryer. And I promise you, I swear I could put my hand on the Bible. I have no recollection of this. Zero recollection. She was like, but you said yeah, and you said okay. And I said, Auntie, I promise you, it's another entity that is speaking if you're talking to me while I'm asleep. I promise you, I have zero consciousness. So I must have created another version of me that says, go away. I promise you, I don't know what happened. So it's like, okay, what am I doing? I said, that's why I told everybody, if you hear me say something to you and I'm asleep, I'm not really saying it to you. I don't even know that it's happening. You really have to wake me up, make me sit up or something to be fully present. I remove my handicaps, if you will, just stuff that I know to be true about me. So it's like, yeah, you have to pay attention to that. Melatonin don't work fast enough. Okay. Because my friend, she give to her kids like 2 of them little melatonin gummies and stuff, and they eventually start fading off. Mommy, I'm just sleepy all of a sudden. Like, I know, baby, it's all right. It's time to go to bed. Z Quill. You come to Auntie Diana's house, Z Quill, saying, finally Panasonic. Let's give it up for Panasonic in the building. What happened this week with the new Panasonic S5 Mark II, they finally decided to introduce phase detection autofocus. Where is my, let me pull this up because this is share worthy. All right. This is definitely share worthy. Panasonic went and did the unthinkable. This camera for $1997 for the low price of $1997 with 5 easy payments of, but they came out with this camera. These cameras are great. I never disliked Panasonic, but I don't like some of the things that they were doing. And I have those quirks about a lot of brands. But if I'm going to recommend something, it has to have reliable autofocus. Like, just imagine. Y'all know how long I've been sitting here communicating with y'all? Imagine if it's not on me, it's going back there to John Coltrane. JC ain't got nothing to do with this live stream. All right? He paid nothing to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he just jumping to John. Jumping to me, back to John. Jumping to me. John ain't a co-host. He ain't got a microphone. Okay. But that's how Panasonic stuff would move, or it just would be on the fritz in the background and stuff. Now, again, for the target audience of the indie creator, they like all that stuff. I'm not about that life. I want to know that I can sit here, talk, and look at the camera as I did for the beginning part of the Helpcast, and we're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to keep looking to see, like, am I in focus? Like, oh, here, catch me. Hey, where you going? Mm-mm. But this camera, the Bees Knees Hall of Fame, it doesn't meet the Bees Knees Hall of Fame because I haven't tried it yet. But weather sealed, dual UHS-2 SD card slots, which is the new. 5-axis sensors, whatever. Like, their stabilization is amazing. This C4K is a Cinema 4K, 4K 60, 422 10-bit, 24.2 full frame sensor, 6K 30, 420 10-bit, and a lot of other things that sound like a foreign language if you're not familiar with any of those things. All that is to say is this is a really fantastic camera. You're getting, again, 4K 60, H.265, H.264, all these different things. The megabits, this is kind of representative of the 10-bit. That's kind of what you would see on like even some of the Sony cameras, which is cool. But Panasonic's quality is it's never been a question of quality. 12-bit HDMI external, that's cool. Super 35 in APS-C mode, which is nice. And they have the logs in there and a ton of other stuff. And the cool thing with Panasonic is they actually do really great firmware updates. I saw a lot of people was talking about like the menu system required them to get into a different learning curve. And I think as more creators transition from the cameras of circa 2019, 2020, I'll throw in 2021 on back. And then those that are like end of 2021 and 2022 on forward are going to have different menu systems. I want to say this more confidently, but I can't because I don't know. So asterisk next to this. It's just my ideas. I don't know. Haven't talked to Sony to get any details or something. So it's not an insider secret. I think the new, if we get, like it should be a new Sony A7C Mark II. It should be a new ZV-E10 at some point or similar S kind of sub $1,000 camera. It should be a Sony A6600 upgrade thing, and all of those should have new menu systems. And I say should. It should be a new ZV-1 Mark II and not that ZV-1F. And I don't like that gosh darn camera. You know why? Because it has that poor autofocus. So, oh, it's okay. It's just all you got to do. No. If at any time somebody says all you got to do is, that's a no for me. If you like, you have to desire to want to take on that handicap at that point, and that's okay because ZV-E10 is not perfect, ZV-1's not perfect or whatever in all respects. And no camera is truly, but it can get as close to right as possible for you. But there are some things that are non-negotiable. Amazing autofocus is one of those, and Panasonic did a fantastic job with that. All this other stuff is cool, but this is the camera. You know, fully articulating screen. It's dope. They did a great job with this. They really, really did. So kudos to Panasonic. I think this is going to be a hot seller. This is their like version 1 phase detection autofocus or whatever, and that's great. But like it's going to be probably firmware updates to fix and continue to make it better. I'm glad they admitted like the contrast detection autofocus. It may be cool for photos, it's just not for videos. So I think you're going to see more creators pick up Panasonic cameras, and Panasonic, welcome back to the fold of recommendations. I would not mind recommending that camera right now. Saying hi, Diane. It's my first time talking with you. I first heard about you on Anita by Design's YouTube page. Well, hello, Teresa. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast. Glad that you're here. Saying we played no games, and I pimped and slapped. I slapped the like button with extra. Shout out to those that understand the pimp slap with the powder reference. That is hilarious. K-Walk Comedy saying, oh no, here we go. K-Walk Comedy, I appreciate every time I see you in the chat. You know why? Because I can't wait until we do the next Wheel of Wonder. I want you to be the first one on the stage, okay? Like Wheel of Fortune, you got all the I want you to be the first one up there, okay? Should I ever make my own studio, like a big one and stuff, like on the MKBHD thing, which is something I envision will happen. I believe that. I want you to come and spin the real big Wheel of Wonder. We're going to do it in person with a live studio. I just imagine that. I think you're going to be the first one. The first one, K-Walk Company. So that's because and already, Muhammad, this is a brand new year. Okay. This is the first comment that you have of the year. over here. And I think this comment is disrespectful. So what I'm going to do with the magic of Ecamm, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you fix this comment. That's because dark chocolate is trash. There you go. I fixed that for you because I appreciate you being here. I love Ecamm. What's up, Mila? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying all chocolate is, see, again, with the magic of Ecamm, we're going to bless you. Don't you worry. Because dark, let's see here, fix that. Dark chocolate is, now we agree with this, that this, hey, I'm right there with you, Mila. Dark chocolate is a, kind of a, saying I was going to sit back, just listen, but she had to start going off on the way. Said, I like them all white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. Oh, amazing. They're amazing. They're so good. Subway, I think, is make some of the best. And then it's like, what is it? Like Granny's or Auntie Annie's or something in a red package or something. I've seen at grocery stores are amazing. Saying before we know it, the Wheel of Wonder music will start to play. Chi-Chi, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying, oh yeah, a hot topic, milk chocolate. We okay with milk chocolate. Milk chocolate is allowed here. Question, what do you think about Sony going to a pay-to-play method similar to Panasonic, pay for firmware if you want, such as OpenGate, 6K RAW, etc.? I could see this in the A7 IV. I think, okay, so I want to be objective here, and then I'm going to share my actual opinion. Objectively, I think it's a smart model when you are producing powerful cameras like they are, and it's honestly better for the end user, because if they say we'll upgrade, you can pay $200 and get XYZ in your ZVE10, I will take that. I'll take it all day long, especially as you continue to buy new cameras that maybe push the needle and have whole other level stuff we haven't thought about kind of stuff in it. I want the older cameras or whatever it is that I bought a year or two ago, whenever that time frame is as we move forward, I would like to keep the two together and one not being so much better than the other. I think, like I said, objectively, I think that makes sense. If you had an A7 IV, it's like, oh, you could pay an extra $200. Most people, and I would encourage a lot of people, if you're buying any kind of gear, make sure that you are also setting a plan in place for that gear to make you money. If I'm saying, I always use the term and the phrase, it's an investment. And that's not just to sound cute or an industry term or to make you have a mindset shift. No, like it literally should make you money back. And I'm not talking YouTube AdSense. If it took you one coaching client, 1.5, 2, whatever your rates are, or whatever it takes, if you got one coaching client from your content that you maybe publish on YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, in 60 days or less, that camera has paid for itself, with maybe helping to be more efficient with the things that you're doing. So I think it's smart objectively, and it is something like if, for example, I never would have sold my A6600 if it could have added on the stuff that the ZVE10 can do, because it makes it easier when you're doing the dual recording and stuff like that. It's like I'm looking for product showcase mode. Oh, it doesn't exist on this camera. Oh, I'm looking for the red recording screen around. It doesn't exist on this camera. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the little stuff that, again, those micro time wasters. I don't want that. I'd rather have 2 ZVE10s. Then, like I said, that new camera comes out, FX30. It's like, oh, this is amazing. Take that. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a thing. My personal opinion, it's going to suck a little bit, and sometimes a lot of bit. Like I think it's going to suck a little bit and a lot of bit. Meaning if you just bought a camera and then now it's some amazing firmware update that comes out and you like get all the money at one time, like stop asking more and more. But financially for companies, subscription models make more sense. You know what I'm saying? Subscription models, they really do make more sense because you can keep getting more and more and more things. Over time, does that cost makes kind of frustrate you? Yeah, but I think we're moving away from that. Like I said, I think it is going to suck, honestly, for a lot of people initially, because you're like, no, $1,000 is a ton of money. And I don't want to have to spend another 2 and then 100 and then 50 and like all of these little nitpick things to get stuff that you feel should have been in the camera already. So like I said, I think it's those two dynamics there. I didn't hit that. That's what I said. The Rodecaster got a problem. I didn't hit that. Or did my monitor hit it? It might be sitting too low. Anyway, but for me personally, I wouldn't, unless it's something that's, again, like the Bee's Knees Hall of Fame, I wouldn't too much care for it. I want the camera to have everything. But over time, the longer you have your gear and you're using it, and then if you can add on another $200 is less than dropping another $2,000 or $2,500. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to spend $200, maybe every 2 to 3 years, if that's all that you need or want, or do you, and keep the camera that you have, or do you just want to, you know what I'm saying, buy a whole new camera? So it's just going to depend on the person. I wouldn't mind depending on what's included. It better be a great firmware update. It'll save a lot of camera bodies, and it's cheaper for a lot of people. Start here, make money off the camera, let the camera make you money, buy the firmware update or something when you're ready to expand or whatever, if it's available to you. So it's like I said, there's a couple dynamics with that. That's a great question. There's Simply Obs, good to see you. Glad that you are here. It's good to see your face, Obs. I'm always glad. And for the low price of $19.97, I need that. What's it? It's not. Is it Jeopardy? I like that. It's like Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune. I need that one. So I like Panasonic. Yeah, Panasonic. So they're cool. But this is the one camera I personally would recommend. It's like, I don't recommend anything I wouldn't put my own money behind if I needed whatever that camera brings to the table. But I like, imagine doing like a podcast. If you got whoever your industry or niche is, you got the person that is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like a Les Brown, if you're a motivational speaker or something. Like RK3 did his event. And he had Delatoro McNeil. If he's out of focus the whole time, you finally get him in person. You've been trying to get his schedule together for 9 and 12 months, and you finally get him there, and the whole thing is out of focus. That's the stuff that I'm saying, like, is not worth it. Even if it's just you. I'm more concerned about the things that waste my time. And if I'm not going to waste my time, I'm definitely not going to allow something to waste somebody else's time. And that's the perspective of where I come from. I love Panasonic. Cool. But Mother Oat saying Nikon autofocus is not good. I hope they fix it like Panasonic. I think Nikon is on their way. They're actually one of the companies I'm probably most surprised with, but they're on their way. So the only bad part about the new Panasonic is that we can't make fun of that. But we still have Nikon. You know, I think they're good. I think Nikon is I think they're going to be okay if they continue doing what they're doing to get improvements. I think they'll be okay. So in the full HDMI port is literally the chef's kiss. To be honest, I don't, and I get that a lot of people like that. I don't care about the full HDMI port. But like me personally, the micro HDMI port has never given me, I guess, the problems that sometimes other creators have. It just never bothered me. I hear that everywhere. Everybody's like, man, if we need a micro, well, not the micro, we need the mini or at least the full. And I get it simplifies the amount of cables that you would need or like whatever. But I don't know. It just didn't bother me so much. But it is a nice addition. I appreciated being there. Probably most cameras could have a full HDMI port. I don't think it could be. What is this? Hand clapping. Lulu, good to see you. Lula, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying this was the coolest thing ever. Saying, that's not what I said. The disrespect. Brother, I helped you. I helped you. This is the Helpcast. I helped you this day. Okay, I helped you by fixing that. Let's see. Dark chocolate is hella bitter. Yeah, and they say the richer the dark chocolate is, the better. That stuff is mud. Okay, mud. My friend was like, well, how you know what mud tastes like? I can imagine really well. And that's what I think mud would taste like. Okay, I'm not buying that on purpose. Said milk chocolate is the best. It is it's a good in-betweener. Okay, it's sufficient. I like turtles, and those are milk chocolate, so they get my vote. So why does everyone want to get in touch with you when you are listening to an important live event? When I tell you, I set like at work, it was the funniest thing. And I swear it was the Lord that only kept me from not being fired at my job. Cause I feel like I was on a thin line every day, but I would be like, I don't want to be disturbed until like at least noon. And then I would leave work at 3. So you got 3 hours to tell me what you want. And so they were like, okay. And like, I can't focus. I was like, really asked, if you see these, don't talk to me. And so that worked. And then they were like, well, we'll just email you or DM. And it's like, well, Diana, we come over to your desk because you ignore the emails. Because I'm watching live streams and YouTube learnings and stuff. I have a little window in the bottom of my computer. I had 3 screens at work. Yeah, I had 3 screens at work. Little one over in the right, can minimize it real quick. I'd be watching courses and stuff. They'd be like, what are you journaling? What are you learning? Now, what do you say? I'm like, I'm doing a lot of personal development, which I was. I do about 30 to 33 is what I calculated at the time. At least like 30 to 33 hours of personal development courses or whatever when I would be at work. And I still made sure I hit my numbers. I'm telling you, systems and efficiencies, that's like one of my greatest gifts. And I'm so thankful for it. Simply Obscent. Oh, if we're going back to the best chocolate, white chocolate is okay-ish. Dark chocolate is trash. I'm glad to hear you're okay with milk chocolate. We can stay friends. I'm glad that we can be friends too. It's okay if you don't like white chocolate, guys, but it's also not okay if you don't. Saying it is bitter. Thank you. Saying I'm going to bother Nikon until they give me 10-bit internal on the Z6 Mark II. It might. I think what's going to happen for so long, and just to give you all a quick, very laser sharp history on the camera space and what's been happening. Circa 2017 made a huge flip. A lot of great DSLRs were coming out, and they were not doing amazing stuff. It's like 1080p 60 and 1080p 120 in some cameras were like the highest thing. Like that was the 6 and 8K of the day. So and then like the video stuff and how good the autofocus was getting, all of that. Okay, before then you had other cameras, DSLRs, whatever, but around circa 2016, 17, you had it flip to like that was the thing. Okay, a couple years later, like literally, now it's going from DSLR to mirrorless, and people are like, oh, it overheats, oh, it does this, blah, blah, blah. And it was a real quick transition. And it was all about getting new camera bodies. Look at the succession rate of how fast Sony would put out cameras. They did their A5000, A5100. They did the A6000, A6300. They did the A6500. Those were the cameras that they were dropping. They had the A7 Mark II. That came out, A7R, A7R Mark II, A7S, A7S Mark II. All those cameras was coming out like rapid fire. However, now I think we've hit a point universally with all the brands where it should be a firmware race now. The cameras are more than capable, I believe, from the processors, the sensors, the algorithms, and all the stuff that they put into the technologies to make this stuff amazing and just like look easy, is a firmware. Like we're firmware updates away from the camera being able to do what you want. That's why I said, I think for me, unless I had just bought a camera and I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait. We're used to waiting 2 and 3 years for another camera to come out. Please give me that firmware update if it's only a 6-month wait or something. I'll take 6 months all day long. I'll take 2 months all day long. But 2 and 3 years is frustrating to wait. So I'll take the firmware updates if the cameras are good enough. So I think Nikon for like the Z6 IIs and stuff, they're giving us the camera bodies that can do the work. And now we're going to be moving into the season where the upgrades come through the firmware. And a company that's done this exceptionally well is Fuji. Fuji's been the leader in that space. And I think that's where the real sleeper is. So what is your absolute favorite? Oh, sorry, I skipped your thing here, Martin. Sorry about that. Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you. Good to hear. I just bought my second Canon EOS M50 from eBay. All I have them for are for music videos. Every once in a while, it's super hard recording on the road by yourself. Yeah, it totally is. Definitely is. I don't know what your setup may look like if you're talking about like in the car or just like traveling. But I'm telling you, the system of gear that you put together, you don't have to carry a ton to make that happen. But like Amazon is amazing now with the amount of brands and stuff. Like it used to be third parties were seen as less than. Third parties are pushing the charge and accessories and stuff. The M50 has a lot of accessories and things like that, and just like different mounts. Even I have in my car a little suction mount thing. It's by A.R.C, so I can vlog in the car and not have to like hold it or sit on the seat and potentially fall and stuff like that. Saying what's my absolute favorite? Favorite for what specifically? Do you mean chocolate or something else? I say I get what you're saying. My Mix P3. I said on my Mix P3 Mark II, I had to purchase the noise assistant plugin. However, it's got here in my garage studio. That's the thing. It's like, what is the thing that's going to save me time? Everything that we do is like and again, invite my team into us figuring out in the decision-making process. And I'm like, this is what I've come up with. This is the problem we're having. This is the solution. So another one of our core values is problem solver initiator, which means if you present a problem, you need to come to the table with a optional solution. Initiate to start solving the problem. You don't have to completely solve it, but bring something to the table to say, we're having this problem. I've seen this kind of a plugin, and I think this might work, but we need to figure out what to do. We had where we're using a different review system than what we initially started with. And I shared my concerns and frustrations with my editor. I'm like, I don't know when videos are getting uploaded. I don't get notified. So stuff will pile up. That means you have a bunch of videos on your drive, which means we're having now storage issues locally. And like, we got to figure out something because you're getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. And I need a notification or something. I think we should do this, but because it's going to impact you as well, here's the things that I need. What do you think? And it's like, I don't know yet. It's like, okay, by the end of the day, you got to tell me what you need, and then we'll go and try that. The difference is, though, here's the key. And you can invite friends even into this. If you don't have, and again, creator friends that understand what you're doing. If it's a product or service or something, you're not sure maybe how to start the copy or the header or something like that. Sometimes it is good to present that to people that don't know anything about your niche or industry because they're hearing it with fresh ears. When it's something that's more internally, systems-based, efficiency-based, present that to your team or like-minded creator friends and ask them, here's what I'm thinking. What would you think would be a good idea for this? Or what do you think you would do in this position? Or these are the options. Which one would you choose? And then try it. And if it doesn't work, refine the process. If that program doesn't work, switch and refine the process. Like, it's very easy. It's just a matter of making decisions and then refinements until you get to that sweet spot. And now we have that sweet spot. So that's the thing. I'm glad you agree that dark chocolate is mud. I'm glad that you understand that, my brother. I'm really happy for you because I tell you what, I can keep changing comments all day. It said, by the goodness, there is no such thing. And we have, with the magic of eCam, our brother, let's see, there is such, let's see here, a wonderful thing as white chocolate. Yes. I'm gonna even add in emojis in here. Just like, I know you're so excited. 100%. Let's just drop that in there. Did it go? 100%. Come on. Get it. Ah, there it is. Yes, with the magic of eCam, I helped you this day. I have helped you this day. Said white chocolate is good on Reese's candy. I don't think I've had a Reese's white chocolate or what have you. Y'all are a mess. Say my first DSLR was 720p on a Nikon D5000 back in 2010. I feel like 10-bit 4K isn't too much to ask for. Not these days, in my opinion. Saying, what is your absolute favorite camera company? I feel like I skipped somebody. 1 second. I'll come back to that. Saying, what has the best glass? Prime lenses. Specifically, you're going to have zoom and prime lenses. Then, beyond that, like, you got to... Uneducated eyes won't be able to tell the difference between a $50, $100 budget-friendly lens versus something like a $600, $700, $800 lens. If you like don't know what you're doing with the video stuff or whatever, it kind of won't matter. It'll look great. It'll look like amazing, like straight out the camera. But to like pull the best out of a lens, it's like, and you can do a lot with a little with cameras now, honestly. The best glass is going to be like your ideal focal length. For me, that's my Sony 35 millimeter f1.8 lens, the lens you're looking at right now. It's the one I love to use for B-roll shots. I've had this since day one that I switched from. Like, it is my go-to lens for everything for the most part, outside of the Sigma 16. So like, I think the best lens is whatever one fills the most gaps for you. That for me would be two, the Sigma 16 and then the Sony 35 millimeter f1.8 lens. But it's, for me, I think the best lenses are going to be prime lenses. I love zooms, but they still just don't have that umph that a prime lens have. And I don't know why. It could just be the amount of glass elements that are in between. And obviously, the more glass you put in front of stuff, the more diluted it can tend to become. Doesn't mean lenses are bad or whatever. But I like I really, really like the Tamron 28 to 75 f2.8 lens. And then if you need wider, like the 17 to 28 f2.8. This is my personal like. Let's see here. Sam, what is your absolute favorite camera company? So in my mind, when I think of the camera brands, I don't think of Olympus or OM Digital or Digital Solutions, whatever they call it. I don't think of them. My initial thoughts are between Canon, Sony, Fuji, Nikon, Panasonic. Panasonic really like was the cameras that made me like think differently about like what's possible. You know what I'm saying? The camera brand like Canon made me love mirrorless cameras and just cameras in general. They were my first cameras. So they hold a special place in my heart. But I really found a home with Sony cameras, and it's not just because I'm using them now. I could buy all Panasonics and get rid of all the Sonys, and that's what I choose to use. But I found a home with Sony because what I found is that my goals, my skill level, and what the cameras make possible are best fit into the Sony space and not the other brands. With Canon, I got too frustrated waiting for them and them honestly having bits of arrogance with, well, it's only like a $500, $600, $800 camera. If you want better, get this. That was literally like a statement that the CEO made or whatever. Okay. And I watch brands when they're not producing cameras. I watch brands when when different social issues happen or just even issues within their community. If Nikon treated their people with crap, like their customers and stuff, I wouldn't vibe with them too much. I haven't seen that. What I saw with Sony though is that they were really one of the first companies that brought creators like myself. I didn't go, I wasn't invited at the time. I wasn't even using Sony. But at the time I was learning, they were the ones that pulled the people that I was learning from and that we see a lot on YouTube for cameras and stuff. They sent them out, come try the cameras. Let us give you a camera and you try it out or whatever. When stuff would happen, I just saw Sony create a real community with their people, and the growth in the stuff of what they do, it just really vibes well with me. So for that reason, I would say Sony. And even if I bought other cameras like to have and to use, and I'm going to have other cameras that I'm going to be covering on the channel outside of Sony. But for me, I found a home with Sony. So they would be my favorite cameras, even though, like I said, I love Panasonic for a specific reason. I love Canon for a specific reason. But my heart right now is with Sony and has been for the last several years. Muhammad saying, I didn't say that. That's brother, let me tell you something. You know how they always say the customer is always right? I don't subscribe to that statement. Whatever I type and retype for you in Ecamm is what's right, okay? However I fix your statement, is what's right, okay? I'm trying to help you live right, brother, okay? I'm trying to help you be successful, okay? You needed that comment to be changed. Because then Canon is more adaptable to most sound systems. How so? Because if we think it on a cinema level or a Sony level, that's a different ball game. And then are we talking about indie or professional? Because then we get into Aria and Alexis and all whatever. So I don't know if I've not found that personally to be true, at least on the scale of the work that I do. It could be because everybody was using the C100, 200, C200s, and all the rest of that. So we'll see. So I mostly use Canon when shooting films, Kudoki. And however, I do have a question. What's the best microphone to use when you're doing voiceovers and podcasts? I would highly encourage, so here's the thing. There are great microphones and there are great budget-friendly microphones that I personally love. I think every content creating entrepreneur to a point should own a Shure SM7B or something in that range. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one, because I would say go to a store like B&H Photo Video or whatever local place that they have them set up. Guitar Center is good for this. And listen to your voice on the microphone. I tried a lot of different ones, and for the range of my normal voice, this sounded best coupled with the Rodecaster Pro. And this is the Rodecaster Pro 2 specifically. But go and listen to what your voice sounds like. I can't think of the one. It's Pastor Felicia uses this one. The Heil PR40 is another great one. But go and listen to what your voice sounds like, or someone on YouTube that has a voice range that's about where you're at. Most women's that I saw online, their voice would be like way higher. Like, hey guys, my voice ain't up there. We're down here. Okay, we're in the alto section in the choir. We're not the soprano. But so I would listen to people who had that same range for my voice, and then I would try it. I love the Shure SM7B, but I think everybody should have a relatively expensive microphone that you own. That is I own this microphone, I will never have to replace it kind of a thing. You may buy other ones because you want them, but you should never have to replace them. For me, I think that's the Shure SM7B. I've not found where, and the Shure MV7 is great. The Samson Q2U is great. It's a lot of Rode microphones out there that are great, but for the flexibility in tonalities that I've found on the Shure SM7B, that one or the Heil PR40 are great. Own it now, have it for the next 15 or 20 years, and it still work amazing type microphones. Let's see here. In Philly Films, what's the best 24 to 70 lens? For Sony, I found that those are honestly in their G Master it's like the G Master lenses. And that's speaking from experience using them. It's even their 70 to 20s as well. I cannot rightly explain, and YouTube can never communicate this. Like in what you see, even in like some of the best creators, like Dan Watson's really good. Omar, he's great over at Think. Even Knowlton, over at Think. But it just doesn't communicate the same as when you have it in your hand. But those 20, Tamron has a good one, but like the G lens is again, you just got to try it. Sometimes, again, to the untrained eye, you won't be able to see the difference, but it's just an experience. Just rent it. Like you go to diana.link/lens rentals, just go rent it and try it. The Tamron 24 to 70s are great as well. If you're looking for something more budget friendly, but again, when you get into that kind of range, you just want the lens that you can buy and don't ever have to buy it again. Like it's just a staple, like the 35mm f1.8. It's a lens that was purchased. It doesn't have to ever be replaced unless they really do something magnanimous, which they haven't in many years. So that would be my advice. Excuse me. I'm laughing. Is it just me? Insight with T. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. What's the best screen recording recommendation? Does Ecamm have the capability to record channels like yours? Brother, everything that you see, that looks like this in this frame or whatever on my channel, even when I'm sitting slightly to the right and it's different, is using Ecamm. It's all recording Ecamm, and it's recording in 4K. All of it. It's the exact same stuff that I use right now. I use we probably do 90% of recorded content in Ecamm specifically. Now, if you want to record the screen, all that stuff is still possible to you. Come over here. That's how I do the tutorials. And you see I got the picture-in-picture. I can move that. Let me show you what this looks like. So I can move this screen over. I can adjust how I want stuff. unmute it? Okay, there we go. I accidentally hit the wrong button. But you can flip it. So if you want to switch it, you can, depending on whatever the thing is. But all the stuff that I do, training content, stuff like that, is all using Ecamm, because it's just systems, man. Systems and efficiencies. There are other screen recording programs out there, but again, I want to buy something that I don't have to replace. You know what I'm saying? Or I know that they're going to give updates. And that's another thing with Ecamm. Always getting updates. It's always improving. We're always testing new things and stuff like that, like as a beta tester and some things alpha tester. But Ecamm, if you're a Mac user, if you're not, was it ScreenFlow or something like that, or as another program, Camtasia, the company that owns that, I can't recall it, they had something that was good with that. There's also browser-based ones, depending on your computer, like Loom, Loom, and then Descript is one that a lot of people don't think about. They just think about editing text or stuff like that. I've done a couple videos in Descript. So that's another good one. And one to keep your eye on, if you're a Canva user, is Canva. They're doing some stuff, which is really, really cool. Sorry with so many questions, because no, you're very welcome. That's the part of the Helpcast. If you got questions, throw it in the chat, and I will make sure that I answer it. And we are coming up on the end of the Friday Live Helpcast, because I'm seeing it get real small in the comment section. So speak now or forever hold your peace if you got questions. Otherwise, y'all know how we gonna roll. To reach say, I'm loving this information. You're very, very welcome. NP Feeling saying GM1 or GM11. G Master, the first or the second. It depends, because sometimes the second version of them, if it's okay, the 70 to 200 that I tried, that was a Mark II. Having tried the Mark I and carrying it around all day, both of them, I would take the Mark II all day because it was shorter and it was sharper. Again, this is sometimes the stuff that you have to be behind the camera yourself to experience. And the Mark I is phenomenal. The Mark II is phenomenal, but because it was shorter and I don't know the exact weights of the two of them, but it felt like it was lighter in my experience, and just, again, carrying it all day. I take the Mark II all day long because it didn't feel frustrating to carry around. Like I wasn't like, oh, I need to take this back to the room because I'm sick of carrying. Like, no, it was a great experience. Whereas with the Mark I, it's like, do I need to take this lens out right now or not? Kind of a thing. Let's see here. Moag Mesmerized. Let me know if I said that right. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying so lucky that I'm actually able to watch you in real time. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. It has really leveled up my live stream. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't hit the womp womp. My roadcaster is sick. Okay, I don't know if she has the COVIDity 22, but kudos to you. I'm glad this content has been helpful for you and getting value. And if you are getting value out of the live stream, make sure you hit the live thumbs up button. I'll actually see it in Ecamm Live when you guys actually hit the like button. If you're watching this on a replay, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Saying 20 millimeter, 24 for live streaming. If I didn't have a Sigma 16, what would I take? Or if I didn't have anything? In some respects, I would say 24. If you know you need wider, like just for range and flexibility, 20 millimeters. The reason why I tend to lean into something that's closer to that 30 millimeter range is just because, again, in using it, the flexibility is there. Sometimes when it's too wide, it does distort a little bit of the face. If you've ever seen one of those ads, or I can't think of what the dude's name is, his YouTube channel, he showed like from a 10 millimeter all the way to like to 70, how the face just distorts. And sometimes the 20 millimeter, yeah, it's wide, but it's like, I don't want that distortion. That's why I use the 35 for B-roll clips and not the Sigma 16. It's just, again, sometimes being too wide is not right, but if you know that you need that extra 4 millimeters, go for the gold. If you know you have space to back up a little bit, I'd say go for the 24 because that one's a little more, it's just not as distorted, kind of like. That's my thought process on that one. Question, somehow Elgato Virtual Cam popped up on Ecamm. Was that me, or is that a new software or something that you downloaded. Elgato Virtual Cam is, if you at some point installed that, then that should be a thing. But Ecamm has its own virtual camera. So unless it's a plugin or something that is with like an Elgato device that you have, then that's something. But I don't, not that I've seen it. Again, I've been head down these last couple weeks writing this book. And like I said, we finally finished the back cover last night, thank God. And so the whole book cover is done. But just wait back from the edits from my editor, and then, good Lord, we're gonna be doing pre-orders. I'm not nervous. I feel ready, but it's very different. This is very different. But yeah, I have not seen anything with that. If it is, probably do an updated video on that a little bit later. But if anything, Ecamm may give you a plugin to work better with something. That's a possibility. Greetings, Brian Jones, and greetings, Diana. I missed this one. I'll catch the replay. Well, if you get to this part again, we appreciate you coming back. And thank you for being here in real time. Good to see you. Manila Martin saying, thanks for this. Watching from the Philippines. Hey. So my team is based out of, shout out to the Philippines. It is. I even keep a clock up so I know what time it is, so I don't message them on weird times. It's 3:02 a.m. So listen, you in there like swimwear right now. Saying Harris Heller? Who? Don't know nothing about it. Saying I have, the fryer place, good to see you. Look at you here. I have a 24mm Tamron lens, and it's terrible. What? What's wrong with it? I am curious, what is wrong with it? Or what is it about it that you don't like? I'm very curious about that. Last question. Will the Sony ZV-E10 be enough for 2023 content creators? Ooh, juicy question. Okay, objectively, for some people, no. For others, yes. Do you want to invest in a camera that can survive your goals, for your content goals? It has a high enough ceiling to do what it is that you're imagining to do. If you know that some of the limitations that the ZV-E10 has is going to be more of a frustration than a help to you, because it makes you do, like, let's say, because it doesn't have the in-body stabilization. It got digital. It's not great. It's not great. So you couple that with Catalyst browse or whatever. Okay, that's something extra you got to do. If you know that's not like you plan to do a lot of on-the-go stuff, like it's better cameras out there already right now that would just completely eliminate the amount of time that you have. For a lot of people, I think the answer still is going to be yes. They may want 6K, 4K, 10-bit, whatever, but the computer systems aren't there. The storage drive stuff isn't there. The systems aren't there. The efficiencies aren't there. And so it's a lot of ground to cover in these next 365s. So I think for a lot of people just getting started, it may be a want and a desire to have more as new cameras come out. But I do think it will be a contender for a really long time for the base stuff that most people do. You know, it's just going to be more of a want. But I would always encourage you to buy gear, number one, based on the system of gear that you need to create. And then number two, make sure it can survive your ideas. So that's why I was like, when I was freaking out in a good way when the Sony FX30 was announced, it is because the ideas that I had, that camera meets them and exceeds them. My skill level, it would take me it's a gap to get from where I am now to the things that camera is capable of. That's why it's so exciting. It's a huge ceiling for me. If I hired more editors on the team and to do other things or whatever, it's just like exceptionally skilled with color grading and, you know, to the hill, you know, they're a filmmaker or whatever. That camera, I can put it in their hands and they can do stuff with it that I couldn't from skill. So that's what I would encourage. I think for a lot of people sitting it on a tripod, you're good. I'm using the A6400. I probably won't replace this camera for a good long while. A6400 is dope. So will it be for a lot of people? Absolutely. For those that have really big goals and they're planning to execute on those this year, I don't think so. It may fill a gap for some things, but if you're going to quickly run into that ceiling, go ahead and get what you need. That's my opinion on that. Saying thank you for responding and God bless you. Well, thank you so much. I received that blessing. George Washington in the building saying fisheye thing going on. Yeah, that's what I said. Sometimes wide and the distortion is not always best. That's why I love the 35. I just look normal. I know I can back up 2 to 3, 3.5, 4 feet and just look normal. Do the B-roll, it looks normal. So depending on what camera you're using or what have you, and that's why for some videos back there, whatever, Sigma 16 looks great. For this, I tried using the Sigma 16 for live streams for a time. I want to say in 2020, I think, when I got that lens. I didn't like it. It's too weird for that. How do we find out about places we can go to learn content creation hands-on for someone who knows absolutely nothing about nothing and wants to become a content creator? Levon, welcome to your home. Welcome to your new home. Welcome to your new home. You're in the right place, brother. You are in the right place. But here's what I will say, because I don't think there's a such thing as the only teacher you ever learn from. The guys that learned from Aristotle, the guys that learned from Plato, subscribed to his teachings and followed him as a teacher, but they also brought in external information. The thing with that is, it is impossible to learn everything in a day. Ask me how I know. But what I would encourage you to do is figure out what is the current roadblock that you have right now, and then who or what is going to help you. That's that external information. Don't always try to solve that yourself. Just who has that answer? Who has that answer? If you look back at any of the live streams that I did a few years ago, even, you'd hear me constantly just talk about Sean Cannell, Sean and Heather. And just how much, like, I still to this day, I'm not going to get emotional, but I love and sincerely love and appreciate them. They helped change my life. For a time and for a season, they were that go-to mentor and coach for a lot of things that I needed to learn. And then things changed to where it's like a new direction, new vision. And so they're still a great teacher, mentor, whatever. I love Heather to death. I love Sean to death. Again, a family for me. But then it's like, okay, this season, it's like, and for the last couple of years, it's been Uncle Ray Edwards. And so just learning, studying, it's like, this is what I need. This is where I'm going. So just like, what's the right now hurdle that you have? And who is the mentor, teacher, coach that is far enough along in the journey that they're creating that information to help get you to fill the gap? It's not like, who can I bring in and corral everybody? It's just the one hurdle. I used to be the track coach at my high school for the girls, and I would help the guys out as well. But I used to be not track coach, excuse me, because I didn't run. I used to be the track manager at my high school. And even though I didn't know, I couldn't execute the how, I still knew the what it should be, and then, like, again, a little bit of the how. But the main thing, whenever they needed to get over a hurdle, you'd know when they keep the foot, just keep hitting. And it's like, you know what you're doing? It's a little sidestep, little bitty thing. I would look and I can see from the outside, I'm just a track manager. I'm like, you have a stutter step right before you go. Take that out. Then every time, hit. But you only can mount and get over that one hurdle at a time. You don't jump over 12. It's one hurdle at a time. So find that one coach, teacher, or mentor that's creating content around the thing that you really need help with the most, that you vibe with, that you can learn from, and let them help you get over the hurdle, because they can see from the outside looking in. And if you find that the hurdles got bigger, or now you got to do a pole vault, and that's not their lane, look for your next new mentor. And mentors also can be in books. And if they have a course or something, just see if that's like they vibe with how you need to learn stuff. And then if there's events and stuff now, people are doing live events. I'm going to be doing the Women of Video event January 20. That's my next one. I keep saying January. March the 11th and the 12th, I think. And then after that is another one. And so there's a couple events that I want to be going to. and hope to continue to fill my calendar up with more talks and stuff. But like, that's what I look at, like, who's there? Who can I get in the room that's smarter than me? What rooms can I get in, and what communities can I get in that was like beyond? I'll tell you this last story and then we'll call it, unless there's other questions. When I was first getting started, I remember like the camera stuff is like, okay, cool. But I know I need somebody to help me get over this next hurdle. I don't even know all of what is going to require. But the one thing that pops out is this. Shalene Johnson had her Marketing Impact Academy. That is her live event. And I remember Sean saying like he was going to do 8 or 9 live sessions or something like that. Or it could be like 5 or 6 even. Where it would be him on the call and it's like a group coaching thing. I bought her product and course, not because I wanted to so learn from her. It was a benefit, but it got me in the room to be with Sean and Heather. That established the relationship with them. That established me being able to learn from them. And again, it's just built a friendship now that is very life-giving. You know what I'm saying? I paid to be in the room. I've done that so many times. If it's like identify, like I'm looking at like who I'm learning stuff about, writing the books and the whole self-publishing industry, because I know that's something I want to teach. I want to teach these content creating entrepreneurs now how to write a book. Didn't have to be a long one. My book's not a long one. And it's like, because I can see the value that it would bring. Who's going to help me get over that hurdle? Okay, I identify who's going to help me get over that hurdle. And I'm like, where are they going to be at that I can get in the room? How can I pay to be in the room? So go where you're not the smartest person in the room. Go to where you can learn from other people. And sometimes that's paying for access. It's worth it every single time. Fashion reviews, be easy. Shoe and fashion reviews, good to see you. Glad you're here. Don't forget those days you were joining the live with Jason. And I thought about that the other week. I said, man, I missed the Monday lives. I missed the Monday lives. I'd be in there like swimwear, the only Canon fangirl in the group. They be like, what gear y'all buying this year? I got a new Canon M50 or a new Canon M6. I missed the Monday lives. I wish they would do that again. Because I waited for that every week. Saying, Lord, I'm still using the iPhone 14. What you talking? Let me help you out with something. I just charged this beauty last night. iPhone 7. iPhone 11. I have and this is my main phone. Y'all see it all the time because it has that case or whatever. I do not intend to get all of the newest, latest, greatest iPhones and the whatnot because I invest in cameras. But I'm still always surprised at what these can do, and they're not the latest and greatest. I used the iPhone 7 for a lot of other different stuff. Nobody even knows. I used the iPhone 11 for a lot of stuff. Nobody knows. The iPhone 14 is a bee's knees Hall of Fame camera. It's amazing. Add light. Anything you're going to do, add light. Get you a program or something that can expose the best of what that software is capable of or in that phone, and you're good. I watch a lot of stuff from people that make iPhone videos, whatever. It's amazing. You still got to learn the same camera skills or whatever that you would with a camera, even though it's a phone. You're good. I promise you. All right, y'all. We have rounded up until the end of the Friday Live Helpcast. It is always my esteemed pleasure to serve you this fine day. If you're watching this live or on the replay, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We'll see you next week on Monday when we drop a brand new video. With that, gossip with passion, I'll see you on the next episode of the Friday Live Helpcast or somewhere on these interwebs. Peace.